A Zoom call could change everything. Will Pope bring in talented forward Wesley Yates? If you think he's a good prospect for the Wildcats, subscribe to the channel now. Now, another name enters the scene in this relentless search for pieces that can take the roster to the next level. Wesley Yates III. The news that Kentucky has scheduled a Zoom call with the USC forward reinforces the seriousness with which Mark Pope and his staff are approaching the transfer market, solidifying the program as one of the most active and strategic this offseason. Yates, a forward who has already proven his worth throughout his redshirt freshman season at USC, where he averaged an impressive 14.1 points per game, in addition to solid contributions in rebounds and assists. His shooting efficiency, 48% from the field, 44% from three, and 80% from free throw, highlights his offensive versatility and ability to impact the game in a variety of ways. For a team like Kentucky, which is looking for not only depth, but also players capable of changing the pace of a game, Yates represents an enticing opportunity. The connection between Kentucky and Yates goes beyond statistics. The player has family roots in college basketball, having previously been recruited by Alvin Brooks during his time at Baylor, a name that has now been linked to the Cats' recruiting efforts. In addition, Yates is a former AAU teammate of Jalen Lowe, another recent Kentucky recruit, which creates a familiarity and synergy that could weigh positively in the forward's decision. These pre-existing ties are crucial in such a competitive recruiting process, where details like trust and comfort can make all the difference. The competition for Yates promises to be fierce. While the initial do not contact tag has been removed, allowing Kentucky and other programs to reach out, there are rumors that the forward's fate could be tied to the movement of Quincy Pondexter, his cousin and current assistant coach at USC. Should Pondexter decide to return to the University of Washington, there is a possibility that Yates could follow suit, further strengthening the family ties. This scenario adds a layer of complexity to the recruiting process, requiring Kentucky to make a compelling case to overcome these personal connections. Even with these uncertainties, the fact that Kentucky is firmly on Yates' radar is a reflection of the prestige and visibility that the program carries. Kentucky is not only looking to fill holes on the roster, but also to build a cohesive and competitive identity for the coming seasons. The additions of Cam Williams and Jalen Lowe already signal a renewal on the team, and the potential addition of Yates could further enhance the group's potential. His ability to create plays, score consistently, and adapt to different styles of play would be a huge asset to a team that wants to compete at a high level in both the SEC and national tournaments. Additionally, Pope's strategy of integrating players with diverse backgrounds and experiences demonstrates a modern and inclusive vision of college basketball. Yates, who began his career at Washington before opting to redshirt and transfer to USC, brings with him a rich history of learning and resilience. His ability to overcome a foot injury and reinvent himself in a new environment demonstrates the type of mindset Kentucky values: determination, adaptability, and passion for the game. The pursuit of Wesley Yates is more than just an attempt to add talent. It is a clear example of how the program is preparing to meet the challenges of an increasingly competitive conference while maintaining its place among the giants of college basketball. Regardless of the outcome, the tireless effort by Mark Pope and his staff to pursue players like Wesley Yates reflects Kentucky's strong commitment to remaining a force in college basketball. And let's move on. The life of Hardly Gilmore IV. Once a promising prospect at Kentucky and briefly with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, has become a roller coaster ride that has captured the attention of college football fans. The wide receiver who arrived at UK as a four-star prospect and left with the promise of his youthful talent unfulfilled, now finds himself in an uncertain new chapter after being released by the Cornhuskers. However, The murmurings in the stands suggest something unexpected. A return to Kentucky may be in the cards. Coach Mark Stoops, always pragmatic and forward-thinking in his decisions, now faces the possibility of bringing Gilmore back to Lexington. While the circumstances aren't ideal, after all, we're talking about a player who was both released from Nebraska and recently involved in a criminal charge. There's room to ponder the role Gilmore could play on a team looking to bolster its offensive arsenal for the 2025 season. The wide receiver position is one of the most strategic in modern college football offenses, and Gilmore, when he was on the field, demonstrated an impressive array of skills. A cold-eyed look at his Kentucky stats reveals a player who had to overcome physical adversity early on. After missing the first 7 games of the season with a broken collarbone, he returned with an immediate impact. In just 5 games, Gilmore racked up 6 receptions for 153 yards and a touchdown. That may seem modest at first glance, but looking deeper, it's clear he was beginning to show the potential that made him a coveted recruit. His yards per reception average, 25.5, was remarkable, indicating he has explosive ability and can be a difference maker on critical plays. Gilmore's story is marked by off-field choices that complicate his trajectory. The move to Nebraska, fueled by the presence of Dyke heel shorts and Dane Key, seemed like a perfect opportunity for reinvention. Unfortunately, the experiment lasted little more than 3 months before ending abruptly. Now, with his release confirmed by Coach Matt Rule, Gilmore is once again without a stable home in college football. And herein lies the dilemma for Kentucky. Mark Stoops has been clear about his philosophy of building a culture within the Kentucky football program. He prioritizes values such as discipline, teamwork, and resilience. Adding Gilmore to the current roster, therefore, would be a balancing act. On the one hand, the team would certainly benefit from the wide receiver's experience and physical talent. On the other, Gilmore's reputation off the field raises legitimate questions about how he would fit into the environment Stoops has carefully shaped. It's worth remembering that college football also serves as a platform for redemption. Many players who have struggled personally or professionally have found a way to rebuild their careers and, in some cases, their lives in the framework of solid programs. If Gilmore shows a genuine willingness to change and work hard to regain the trust of the coaching staff and fans, Kentucky could offer him not only a second chance, but perhaps his best opportunity yet. In addition, the wide receiver group, led by head coach Damian Washington, already features experienced and promising players such as Kendrick Law, Troy Stellato, and J.J. Hester, as well as veterans Jalmori Macklin and Fred Ferrier, too. Still, the addition of Gilmore could add depth and versatility to the offense, especially considering his ability to make big plays. In a sport where individual moments can decide games, having a player with Gilmore's potential available would be a significant asset. Reports from rivals Justin Rowland and KSR Zach Gogan suggest that a return to Kentucky is not just idle speculation. There's a real conversation going on behind the scenes, and it's paving the way for passionate debate among fans. Some argue that giving Gilmore another chance would be an unnecessary risk. Others see it as a unique opportunity to rescue a wasted talent and further strengthen the roster. If he does return, it will be fascinating to see how Gilmore adapts to the new dynamic and whether he can prove himself on and off the field. I'm not sure about that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.